Hello, Penumbuddies.
Hi, Penumbuddies. We're back with another backlog episode because we finished our jaunt through season one, and now we start the longest season of anything ever. In a great way. I feel like Penumbra hits its stride in season two, and here we are talking about Kitty Cat Caper.
Yay! And we have a special guest. Who could
Hello.
it be? You should introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Maggie. You may know me as Mevery on Archive of Our Own. I have been shouted out on this a couple times, so thank you.
Hell yeah.
I'm also 100 Separate Lines on Tumblr. And I also go by like Mev and Mag, which is a little unfortunate in this fandom, but
Although, frankly, I did not make the connection between you and 100 Separate Lines. Okay, all right. That's where today is. Understood.
Now you know.
Yeah, no, that's me. I'm vibing.
Yeah. So
but
happy
yeah.
to have you.
Yeah, it's
Very
awesome.
Where do we want to start?
Yeah, that's the real question. There's a lot going on here. Juno's coming out of some real shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. This is a sad one. It's a wild season opener.
Yeah.
Well,
All over the place.
I actually have a fun story about this episode, which is that so I started listening to Penumbra in the gap between seasons 2 and 3 because I caught up to the Magnus Archives and was like, I need more. What do people who like the Magnus Archives like? And so I went on to Apple Podcasts and just listened to the first episode that was up at the top. But because of how Apple Podcasts is organized, that was Kitty Cat Caper.
Oh no.
God. Oh my
I was
God.
like, wow. Like this show really throws you in like to the action. I like that. I'm like, ooh, like this guy lost his eye. How'd that happen? Oh my gosh, what's miasma? What happened? I can't wait for that to be revealed later in the season. And then like half the first episode, I was like, I've done something wrong, and I had to go back.
God.
But yeah,
I have
so
made a
this was my
mistake.
intro.
Wow. Wow, that's wild. Oh my God. You stuck with it though.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I think
Shit.
actually I probably like I don't know if I would have stuck with it if it hadn't been for this episode because well, I don't know. I liked Murderous Mask a lot, but like having this be the intro was very good.
Mm-hmm.
That is so cool. I'm thinking about how different this podcast would have been starting like that and then having flashback episodes. That would have been very. But yeah, the skill has definitely gone up from even I think the remake to the Kitty Cat Caper.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this was their first episode after the remake, if I remember correctly, as I have been in this fandom for 18,000 years.
Elder
started listening-
fandom.
I started listening as Angel of Brahma was coming out. So I've been around a long time. But
Which blows my mind.
oh man, that's interesting because you kind of see Juno at his lowest, flat lowest at this point.
I think it's actually a really great place to start in terms of his character arc.
Yeah.
Like, and I think honestly, I don't know. I think if someone were to say, Maggie, how should they rewrite the first 2 seasons of Penumbra? I would say start at the beginning of season 2, cut season 2 into 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And you could probably input some stuff from season 1 into it. And then I would say to make season 3 from Juno's point of view, but that's just my
of course.
opinion.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
or honestly Peter's, but it is what it is.
Same hat. We wear the same hat. I tip my not my fedora, my Carmen Sandiego hat to you.
That's the other thing. When I first pictured Juno, I pictured him in like a bright red like Carmen Sandiego outfit.
You had the best
Peter
first
drawn as
listening.
Carmen Sandiego, but not Juno.
Yeah, I kind of pictured I pictured Juno the way a lot of people picture Peter, where I pictured him being like this sort of like taller Asian dude, who was like very thin and like very feminine. And then I looked at all the fan art and was like, oh, I had this backwards.
I pictured Narev as like the way that some people draw Jet Sekuliak. Like,
Oh my God.
like he was a really like a box, like character design wise, he was a square man and he wore like
God.
a white suit and like
I think I pictured him. Well, I pictured Rex Glass as oh, it's the dude from like the Anastasia movie, like the older man in it.
oh my
What's his
god, you're
name
fucking
anymore?
kidding me.
Yeah,
Oh, good Lord.
because that was
Okay.
what
Okay.
this reminded me of. And then I was like, oh wait, this is the this is the guy that everyone's talking about. This is the dude that everyone has a crush on.
So sexy.
Hmm.
Wow. Oh my God. Um, oh man. Okay. Do we want to? I kind of want to talk about that first Ramsey speech that we get right at the top of the episode.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I was
like
re-listening, and it really jumps out to me how much of an echo it is of the monologue, the final monologue in Final Resting Place,
Hmm.
but it ends at a different spot.
ooh, go on.
Well, Ramses is talking about how like Hyperion is terrible, but it can be fixed. And Juno at the end of season 1 was kind of Hyperion is terrible, but it's mine, and I'll do whatever I can do, and like that's enough. It's got an extra layer of hope into it past what Juno has, because I think this episode is about hope in so many ways. I mean, the whole show is about hope, but very specifically, I think that this monologue is where Juno wishes he was in his feelings about Hyperion City.
Yeah, I'm like, there's real anger there when he wants that program to be turned off. And that makes a lot of sense coming from the perspective of this was like naive me who believed that Hyperion could be fixed.
Oh.
I almost wonder if it's like Juno. Okay, right? So Juno season 1 wants to be better at fixing things, wants to be better at fixing Hyperion. And
Mhm.
his ending monologue is Hyperion can't be fixed and neither can I. But
Oh,
Ooh.
Ramses has spent his whole life trying to make himself better, and he wants to make Hyperion better too, right? Like he's still like I towards the end of season 2, like we get some Ramses feeling guilty about the stuff that goes down in Monsters Reflection, which is like, yeah, you should
You
probably feel
feel bad about
guilty
that.
about
you
that.
better.
You did
Yeah.
bad. You should feel bad.
Um, and in sort of like a similar way with Hyperion, right? Like he's not addressing the core problem, which is, inequality, not corruption. That's the surface expression of inequality. And he's not fixing the core problem in himself, which is thinking that he knows better than everybody. He's fixing the surface problem, which is becoming a literally different person who didn't mess up 3 people's lives forever.
Oh my God, Mev.
Yeah, I'm vibing.
Yeah,
Oh Lord.
damn.
Mev just like took all my thoughts and said them in a way that made a lot more sense.
Blowing my little mind over here.
True. I really
Damn.
like that however fucked up it is, Ramses gives Juno a chance to move forward in a way that he's not able to find on his own.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's super interesting because on one hand, Juno really fucking needed this. Like he needed somebody to reach out to him and tell him that he was still that there was something that he could do to make himself there was a reason for him to be not useless and he could but God, the manipulation there, like the worst possible
Ooh.
like oh my God, like just parroting his worst fears back at him like yeah you are useless and like you are doing nothing and you'll only be good if you listen to me and oh my God.
Yeah, he just pinpoints those weak spots and says, "Here, I've got the solution. You have to listen to me. You have to put in this eye. What is it in the video? This eye that represents he
It's
um
my symbolizes my ability to manipulate and fabricate your perception of justice and your general worldview, I think.
yeah. I kept thinking that while I was listening to this. Like my brain just kept doing that.
I'm
Wow.
so glad I've corrupted you.
Oh, I
Oh
also
my
have
God.
one very serious gripe with the Ramses
Ooh, yes,
speech.
go.
So he describes the sunrise as being like pink and orange in a fiery sunrise. But sunrise on Mars is like a blue-green because they have a different atmosphere than Earth has, right? Like, I don't remember exactly what elemental difference it is. I think there's more carbon dioxide, but I don't remember anymore. Maybe not, because that's a greenhouse gas. Anyway, so the thing that makes like Earth's atmosphere blue, I think, is the nitrogen, and Mars doesn't have as much of that. I'm like saying all of these words, and I probably should have checked them. Um,
It's
but
all good.
our sunrise is the color it is because of like the sun is going through like a different amount of air when it's at the horizon versus like at its zenith, which is like the highest point, because that's going through like the least density of atmosphere to look at it. And so
Whoa.
that's why the sky is blue when the sun is like up in the sky, but it's like red when it's at the horizon. But that's different on
Oh
Mars.
shit.
So it should
I'm
be
looking at,
like a
yeah.
blue
Someone
and
call
green
Kevin Vibert.
sunrise.
Tell him he fucked up.
If Kevin Vibert wants somebody who almost has their bachelor's in physics to go in and just be like, hey, here's science.
And tell us how the goddamn
Wow.
domes work. I've been trying to figure out how the freaking
Oh,
domes work.
Yeah.
I'm like that guy really in the Pepe Sylvia video where I've just got like, okay, so they gotta let in, like people gotta leave the city if they want to go to the service province, so they gotta have an opening. But if they have an opening, then they have to have some kind of like, I don't know, some suction so that they can like fill it with oxygen. But then there's rain in episode 2, so
And
like,
sandstorms
and
and
wind.
different neighborhoods are in different domes, maybe? I'm so
I think
confused.
I think what it is, this is totally also out of my butt, but like I think what it is that like it's multiple domes connected to each other. In my head, I connect them with tubes, but maybe they're not actually connected because definitely like you can drive out into the Martian desert and be okay. It's only a problem if you're out on the Martian desert without like a car, which is also a very interesting way that the
Yeah.
human body has adapted in however much time. But okay. That the greatest risk is like radiation poisoning and not suffocating or freezing to death. Um, but
I always
like,
got the impression that Mars was like half terraformed in this universe. Like
Yeah, but they
not
could.
yeah,
enough to really support anybody, but enough for the atmosphere to be kind of okay.
Yeah.
yeah, and that would make sense then, because like you could have just that like the poorer neighborhoods are in like cracked domes, and that's how you get like a sandstorm.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. Or there could be, or I guess, yeah, the sandstorm is on the outside and then the dome could temporarily fizzle out. And I'm
Yeah,
just
because I guess
curious
it's
about,
not
yeah,
physical.
yeah, it's got to be some, I don't know. I've always pictured this kind of, yeah, oh, whatever. I'll just come up with something. I have to write a fic where they're going out into the desert. And I'm just like, do they have to wait in like a line of cars to go into a special chamber to like, oh my God, can they have an open part of the... But whatever. Back to Kitty Cat Caper.
Yeah. Do y'all want to talk? We can come back to Ramses, but do y'all want to talk about the Juno and Rita dynamic?
I
Oh,
would love to.
this episode breaks my heart with them.
I know.
Like he's so mean to her.
It really is. But her reactions are super interesting to me. Like, how much power does she feel like she actually has in the situation? Because we kind of
Yeah.
get an inkling here that, they're more friends than like boss and employee. But if they were just boss and employee, like it's not okay in any circumstance. But um I think it's interesting that the dynamic shifts so much right here at the beginning of season 1.
Yeah.
I'm just like, in terms of dynamic, I feel like even within the episode, there's some power shifting going on where at the start, there's almost kind of a parent thing, I think, going
Mm-hmm.
on. the first part where Juno takes the monitor and then destroys it, and then versus later in the episode where Rita, it seems to me, is very much in control, at least where Juno's stuck in that storage or room.
Mm-hmm.
They just have a God, their relationship is really interesting to me.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Rita sticking around at that moment feels weird to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Mev?
Um, Honestly, I'm not sure. Like, I wonder. I guess it's possible, right? Like, this seems like it's a pretty low point in Juno's life, and it's definitely the lowest in the story. But it's very possible that it is not the lowest point that he has been in since he met Rita.
True.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he had been like angry and like a little violent and depressed after whatever happened with the HCPD. So
Mhm.
maybe she has seen him doing this before, and because she does, like, she's pretty good at de-escalating, right?
She
Like,
is. She is.
so I wonder, I don't know, like, part of me, I really love their relationship. I really love Rita.
Mhm.
I do wish in the Rita episode we'd gotten a bit more of like what we did end up getting a bit of in the Buddy episode with like the solving other people's problems thing.
Mhm.
But I'm very interested in how Rita feels when that happened. And maybe I just need to like go find some really good Rita fic, but like that emotional response to a friend who is clearly in the midst of a breakdown and in a way that is harming you, but also you know that there's not anyone else who can help them. Like, it's not like he has any other support.
Mhm. But
And
that
so I
doesn't
don't
mean that
really.
she should take, just
No,
like sit there and take
Yeah.
whatever he dishes out.
no. I think it's
Yeah.
more the emotional, the feeling of like the feeling that you should help, but also knowing that you need to like take care of yourself. Like when she's telling
Mhm.
him to like leave and go take a nap, like that's not going to fix it. She knows it's not going to fix it. Juno's kind of sneering about how it's not going to fix it, but also like she needs him to go.
Yeah, maybe that's the
She
break
needs
she
him to go on a
needs.
case. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
never
that's a
thought of it
good way
like
to think
that.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was genuinely like on the side of, oh, Rita assumes that this will actually help. And that he's like, I always assumed that Rita wasn't really grasping the depth of Juno's depression at this point and was just kind of, like, oh, he'll figure it out. He'll get a case. And so, but you're right. We don't really know their past. Like, and chances are she could have seen him almost exactly like this before and might actually be coming from a place of knowledge.
Yeah, that's true. I hadn't thought about it that way. I think that's really insightful. Ugh,
I think it's
Mev with the
also
insight.
Ah, snaps fingers.
I think it's very possible also that like in the past having a case did fix it because
Mhm.
he solved the case and then he did good.
Oh
And this
shit.
time he will not allow himself to feel like he did good. Like, and that's something that keeps happening in season 2, right? Is so like I figured this out while I was listening. Someone dies in every episode of season 2 up until Time Gone By.
Oh
And in
shit.
every
That's so
episode,
messed up.
he blames himself for their death. And in some of them, it's really direct, like it's Yasmin,
Mhm.
or the Proctor. But like, I don't remember exactly what happens in the Stolen City because that one I haven't re-listened to in a long time. But isn't there like a guard who the
Yeah.
piranha kills, and then
Yeah.
Khan kind of like yells at Juno about it?
Mhm.
Oh god.
Aw.
So like, yeah, like this time he's like, I didn't succeed. The piranha got away. I think he's probably also upset that the cat exploded. I don't think he lets himself show that, but
Yeah, because if he
I
had
like to
gotten the
believe.
detonator, the cat would have been okay. Or not okay, but wouldn't have been exploded for sure.
Definitely in a better position than it ended up in.
Yeah.
Yeah, Juno's not a cat person.
Which is pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, it's funny considering that
Sorry, you cut
he
out a sec.
is. It's funny considering that he is romantically with someone who's very much like a cat, but
Yeah.
True.
Oh, goodness. So Rita and Juno are really going through it. Does Juno, he does buy her a new monitor at one point, doesn't he?
Yes, but we only hear about it at the end of season 2 during Soul of the People.
Yeah. Hmm.
I also thought that okay, can I do a galaxy brain like
Do it.
I see how this ties in stuff? Um so I wonder I was thinking about interpreting this episode in terms of like Juno's triggers because it kind of seems like situation after
Mhm.
situation is triggering and he behaves worse and worse. Because like every time Andromeda is mentioned, she's trying to watch but
Mhm.
the triggers also serve as foreshadowing because we don't know why Juno is reacting so strongly to Andromeda. We
Yeah.
don't know why Juno is reacting so strongly to Ramses. Um, and I think Juno's subconscious recognizes Ramses, even if he doesn't like consciously. And the words that Juno uses to talk about his mom, she got mean. Rita says, "You got mean."
Mhm.
Oh, no.
And later, and I think in Monsters Reflection, Sarah also smashes a monitor.
Wow. And then, of
Ooh.
course, like we've talked, Sarah would replace things that she destroyed with, yeah, as gifts. Oh, goodness.
There's a bit where the piranha's like holding the cat out over like traffic, and Juno's like, I wasn't worried about the cat, I was worried about the cars or something, right? Like he causes like a 20-car pileup. But the reason why he goes for the cat is because he says only a monster would like kill a cat.
Ah!
Like he
Ooh,
specifically uses the
Ah!
word monster.
Oh
So
my
that hurt me.
God
The
damn it, Juno.
the trigger episode. We
But I feel like it's such masterful writing to set up these things that are upsetting him as kind of the mysteries of the season. Because this is also
Mhm.
the episode where we get Ben's name.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Do you want to talk about the case?
Yeah, let's talk about the
It's
case.
so fucking silly.
Oh, I love it. Tuna
It's
Brick is
very
absolute.
the tuna brick is absolute. Let's be clear here. And like honestly, like I'm going to law school soon, and I care about Maya King. I feel represented.
Mm-hmm.
A legal professional with a cat. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is true. This is
Maya
how I
King is
feel.
awesome.
I like her. I also thought it was funny that she was immediately like, "It's a curse," which was kind of a callback to Murderous Mask.
Yeah. I
And
like
Juno was
all
like,
of
"It's
the
not a
like
fucking curse."
I love it when everybody in the Juno Steel universe is like, this has to be supernatural in some way. Like that's everyone's first guess.
It really is. And it's not.
It
I
never
don't think
is.
supernatural is a thing in the Junoverse.
You know what? I figured it out. Okay, so I was always
Okay.
like, the timeline is so weird. Cats have evolved, but they still have computers that turn on with a button. Like, what's going on?
Why are there
The answer
pens?
is, it's just the alternate universe that Scooby-Doo takes place in. That's
Oh
just where they
shit.
are.
Oh shit. I
Oh
think
my god.
actually Kevin put out something about the sewer rabbits. Like a
Hmm.
Juno Steel case file or something. And I think the way he waves it is that radiation makes things evolve different than they would have on back on Earth and quickly.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like it.
Like okay.
All
All
I
right.
mean,
right.
I'll
I'll
accept it. I like
accept that.
Spider-Man, so that's basically the same.
Yeah.
True. That is very Spider-Man. I have in my notes that this whole heist, or I don't know, that's not really a heist, but the whole adventure feels very like Rocky and Bullwinkle to me. Like there's a lot of slapstick. There's the shit with Bosco and the sleep ray. Or
Yeah.
Roscoe,
Awesome.
Bosco, I don't know.
Oh,
It's
definitely. Yeah, that's
crazy.
just ridiculous. And the
Yeah.
yeah, the piranha is definitely either Natasha or Boris, like a combination.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. And I
Yeah.
love how much fun Noah Symes is having.
Yes. Okay, wait. This is my other very important thing that I knew as soon as you guys invited me to be on specifically this episode. So Dr. Monrovia is my second favorite Noah Symes performance of all time
Wow. The
because
first Peter.
no, the first is Perseus Shaw. It's specifically when he goes, and then I opened the door and then walked through the door, and then it like fades as he walks away with the bag. That's my favorite thing Noah Symes has ever done. And then this is my second favorite thing, especially when he says, "Have you ever heard a goldfish scream?"
Scream.
That's such a great line.
Oh my god. Yeah, the line reads for everything that he says is perfect. Oh,
And
Juno's
Josh
yeah.
does like a fairly good impression.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was Noah Symes the first time I listened.
Wow. Talent. What an actor.
Yeah.
How
Applause.
far I got into this episode the first time I listened, because I don't remember. That may have been the first time I ever heard Noah Symes' voice.
God, what a formative experience. Um, how is it possible that Rita didn't know that Juno couldn't use computers?
I don't know. Sometimes you don't want to face the truth about the people you love.
That's true.
And there was the fact that in the Dragon's Keep, I forget what that one's called, the Dragon's Den, Juno talks about how he passed his computer illiteracy class,
Uh-huh.
like entirely by faking. So so apparently he has some skills there. But yeah, 15 years is a long time to keep up the act. Good on you.
Well, he
Yes.
can use a computer to the extent that he can play solitaire, and that's all you really need to be able to do with a computer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I respect
he's
that.
always had Rita around. He's always, God, their
Mhm.
friendship is so long. He's always had Rita there to help him.
Wow. Goddamn.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the last time he would have had to try and use a computer without her there would have been when he was in the HCPD. So presumably there was someone else there to do computer things, especially because like he's the sharpshooter, like that's his thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was the case when he was originally a cop, but I imagine that that's why they let him be a cop. That
I mean,
and
he talks about the sharpshooting competition
Mm-hmm.
in this episode.
Well, I wrote
I
that
also think that a lesser show would have let him make that shot with the piranha and the detonators.
Yes. I wrote a whole thing about how Juno has gifted child syndrome, but his gift is sharpshooting. And I was like, like he thinks that Juno thinks that life is a story. Juno grew up on stories. He thinks life is a story.
Yes.
And he specifically thinks
Yes,
and he thinks
the
his life
Penumbuddies
is a story box.
Yeah.
and he thinks he's at the part in the story where the hero gets knocked down, loses an eye, and then gets back up and makes that miracle shot. And it's why he goes for the Thea, right? Like he needs it to be like, okay, the problem has been solved. The day has been saved. And now I can go on to the next adventure. It can't be this thing has permanently disabled me and now I need to learn how to live with a disability.
Yeah.
Right? Like I have to learn how to adapt. I need to learn, I don't know, he has to learn how to adapt to having a disability, and he chooses not to do that.
The meta of that, I think, is really fun too, that most stories don't tend to take a lot of time to let characters recover. That's just, there's maybe a reaction beat, or there's, an episode that's dedicated to it. But to have an ongoing recovery that's slow is something that Penumbra is one of the few that I've come across that have actually taken the time. And that takes place during season 2. So it's funny to watch Juno be like, I need to have this story not focus on, I just need to be able to get back up right now and do things like I used to, and then have the narrative be like, nope, you need to,
sorry, your depth perception.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when do you have a story where someone like becomes disabled and then just is disabled, right? Like
Yeah.
it never happens.
Yeah.
And when it does happen, like it's plot waved away, or it's just they act like it's not a big deal.
Well, it
Yeah.
seemed
And it's
like
not
it
a
was
big
getting
deal,
plot
but
waved away because he does get the Thea.
but I think that like the purposeful giving him the Thea and then going back and having that be like, and like part of me is a little like, okay, well, don't punish people for choosing adaptive technology, but then I'm
True.
also
Yeah.
like, well, but it's like this whole meta narrative of him wanting things to get solved right away. And sometimes there is no magic button that you can press and solve a problem. And, you know, then we get the slow, like, something I would have loved to see in season 3 instead of just being told that it happened would be watching him, you know, regain that sharpshooting ability as someone with one eye.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That had to have been so
yeah.
hard. Yeah, that's a big gripe with season 3.
Because then that kind of puts a hole in the whole thing that we were, you know, the concept of wow, this story really is dedicating itself to this narrative about how you have to, you know, take time to get better, and that's often kind of slow and messy, and you know, and then season 3 is like, by the way, I spent all of this year doing this thing and you didn't even have to see me working on it. And I'm like, okay. Uh, but
Well,
that's a
at least
season
he
3 thing.
practiced for a year, and we know he practiced for a year.
yes.
Yes, it wasn't like, magically it's fixed. He did allude to it at least.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
But it also shows kind of the core of Juno's character when you take away the sharpshooting. You know, season 2 is where like we hear a lot about his deductive mind and why he's, you know, what his skills are outside of sharpshooting and wisecracking.
Mhm.
He's a very perceptive lady.
Yeah. And like honestly, way better at running than he gives himself credit for.
True.
Like,
Although you can
running
pry the headcanon that he has asthma out of my cold dead asthma.
No, listen, I love, well, I mean, I personally love giving him type 1 diabetes, but that's projection. But
valid.
You're so
asthmatic Juno is like, I guess it's not canon, but like, how are you going to not have developed asthma living in Old Town?
Yeah.
Like, if nothing else.
Yeah.
It's also why skinny Juno is illegal.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
okay. Skinny Juno's a misdemeanor. Skinny Rita is a crime. It is a felony.
Absolutely.
Rita is circles.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, shape
Rita's
language.
lots of circles.
Yeah, you try to apply any other type of shape language to Rita, and like, are we even listening to the same podcast? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think she could. You know what? I think she deserves some triangles. I feel like
yeah,
triangles are fun.
because they're chaotic. They're the chaotic shape. Yeah,
I don't know what a
definitely
shape
upside down
language is,
triangles.
but yeah.
I love hearing like from like an art person like, oh, triangles are chaotic, whereas I'm like as a physicist, I see a triangle and it's like, you have now imposed order. I get to use trigonometry. My life is easier now.
I'm looking through
can
my
we talk
notes.
about the final Ramses monologue? We touched on it a little comparing the beginning and ending, but
before we do that, can I just say one more thing about the actual like case?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Because I think there's another really cool piece of foreshadowing that we haven't talked about, which is, so they talk about like sculpting a pet, and they're like, you can change the outside thing, but the inside is like going to stay the same.
Oh.
And so we know that they have the technology to make a person look like a different person. Like we have foreshadowed the Jack Takano Ramses O'Flaherty reveal.
Oh.
Which I think is a really cool way to do that. There's also like, I think there is something about like changing the surface, but the inside's still the same, and then like the surface level politics of Ramses O'Flaherty, and like, but I don't have like a developed thought about that. But what I do think is cool is the foreshadowing that reveal with how the pets can be sculpted.
Ooh,
No,
I'd never thought of
absolutely.
that.
I mean, I don't think it's I mean, even if it is a coincidence, I think it's a smart coincidence that like the idea of you are introducing in this episode the character who is going to have a lot of different layers. And at the same time, yep, there you go. You've got the cat who looks like really lovely and nice on the outside and then has a bomb inside of it. Like that's, yeah, and has been, yeah, that makes really cool sense to me.
It's very things are not always as they seem.
Mm-hmm.
Very, yeah. Love that. Love that a lot. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only just noticed it this time listening, so thanks for giving me an opportunity to listen again. Pick up on details.
Forcing you to re-listen. Yeah.
So let's all say it. Fuck
Ramsey's
O'Flaherty.
Ramsey's O'Flaherty.
I'm not a fan of his.
Fuck Ano.
I actually was very like conflicted about him because I got like really bad vibes in the first episode. Like when I listened the first time. I had really bad vibes in Kitty Cat Caper. And then like through the Proctor episode, I was like, okay, this dude's definitely shady. But at the same time, like he's saying stuff that I like on the surface agree with. And then I was like, well, maybe he's just like kind of freaking me out for no reason. And I actually had the total like Juno Steele getting more comfortable with Ramses as the season went on until it got to the point where all of a sudden it was like, oh shit, I should have trusted my gut when I listened to Kitty Cat Caper and not trusted this character. So I think that's really well done.
It is really well done. Like making space Walt Disney / Bernie Sanders your villain is just, it's such a cool interrogation of the show's politics.
Yeah.
Because over and over, I think Sophie and Kevin are trying to tell us, like, motivations matter. Your intentions matter. They're not the only thing that matters, but if you're doing the right thing for the wrong reason, it's still not a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea that acting selflessly is the same thing as not being selfish. I don't know. I just, like, because Ramses does good things in bad ways. And bad things in ways that you can kind of see where his motivations are. He's a great complex villain.
Absolutely. And yeah, I really vibe with Mev, your comment about how like, oh, like, because I agree also with like, I find myself agreeing with a lot of the stuff that comes out of his mouth. And I think it's great that it takes a while for them to actually interrogate some of that stuff. And yeah, because like it's a lot of it has been, I think, fed to, at least to me, those types of things like Luna mentioned, the selflessness and intentions don't matter, like the effect matters of what happened afterward. And so it's easy to just like this character, like not knowing. And then it's like it's not even, oh, I like him even though his morals are different from mine. It's like when I first listened, I was like, I agree with this dude. He makes sense. I like him.
Yeah. I think what it is also like, because I think that's specifically right when you're talking about like intent versus action. I think that the key is like, first of all, like they both matter, but the reason why they both matter is because intent informs action, right? Like if you want to make people not be poor anymore, right? Like if you want to eliminate poverty, but the reason why you want to do that is because you have some vague sense of poverty bad and you think that you're the person to solve the problem, then what you do is you brainwash a bunch of people and you kick them all out of their houses and then build new houses after demolishing their old homes that they lived in for years, and you ruin an entire town. But if you want to eliminate poverty because you believe that people should not suffer and you have compassion and like empathy for others, then what you do is you talk to them and you ask them how they would want their lives to be improved, and you organize them politically, right? And like whether that is through mutual aid outside of the electoral system or through like electing people to local, state, federal, whatever intergalactic office, right? Like it has to be communal. And Ramses and Juno are both so self-centered in this season. Like, they are so, I need to fix things. And for Juno, it's a burden. And for Ramses, it's like a point of pride.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, like, from both perspectives, it's such a flawed way to try and make the world better. And that's why Ramses is not Bernie Sanders, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's not, or he's not, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, right? Like, people who've actually gone and done the grassroots organizing, they've been on the ground, and who are listening, or whichever politicians you want to say are listening, or like community activists.
Mm-hmm. He is Space Walt Disney, though, trying to build a utopia
Yes.
without asking anyone what a utopia looks like.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because he knows best. Yeah. No, yeah. Oh, wow.
Do
You
you
put
think
that
that?
perfectly.
Yeah, you did. Do you think that Ramses had another like conversation? Because we learn later that he lays out all his conversations ahead of time. Do you think he had another conversation laid out for if Juno recognized him on the spot?
Probably, but oh my gosh.
Right?
I hope that fic exists.
Oh my God, that would have
Ooh.
just, whoa, oh God.
Oh man, now I want to write that.
Yeah, that's
Ooh,
a
please.
lot. Wow, what do you think would have happened, Luna?
Oh, is it bad that I still think he would have done it?
No, I
No,
think that,
I agree with
yeah.
you.
I
I
think there would
mean,
have been a lot more mistrust, but I think that he still would have allied himself with Ramses because
that's
it's
fair.
not about him. I did air
Yeah,
quotes, listeners.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
I bet, like, in that, like, imagining like that version of the podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just thinking about how often that watch would tick, right?
Ugh.
Like, that would be so fun. Ugh.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you guys, what do you think about the watch? Like, why are we paying attention to the watch?
I think it's a motif in that it shows back up in Monster's reflection and is kind of a theme through Juno's life that he doesn't have time. Like there's no
Mhm.
time to stop and think. You can only do good.
Mm,
Which is another reason that Juno's little power nap at the end of Monster's reflection is very important to me.
yes.
Yes.
Most important nap in the
He deserves
history of podcasts.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I will say that the watch was not something I noticed consciously for while it was happening. Like it took several re-listens before I was like, oh, it's the watch, like in Monster's Reflection.
Mm-hmm.
It's
So
pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's that there's like a line that's like we're all just killing time before the killing time. Like, I really do think that both of them feel like they're going to die soon, right? And like Ramses knows he's sick, and Juno like wants to die soon. Like,
Yeah.
that's what he's been trying to do since, I don't know, probably HCPD, maybe since Ben died.
Yeah.
yeah.
Consciously or not.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
He's all like, oh, and I didn't think I'd live long enough to be a has-been.
Yeah. Well, I think he really is like that the epitome of like, those people who are like I am only going to live to be this age, right? Like, and then they
Yeah.
make it to that age and it's like, what do I do now? And I think the answer for Juno is just, I'll just move that number up 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
is very sad. And I'm glad
Very
that
sad.
he worked on that. Because
Me too.
I don't know. I think a lot about how Ramsey said exactly what Juno wanted to hear, and how I think that
Terrifying.
they're probably like very similar on the inside to some extent, because Juno gets to keep his self-loathing and still do good things. And I'm not good at talking today, and still do good things, but he can still feel bad about himself.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of the perfect way to keep someone under your control like that.
Yeah. Oh God. Ugh. And I really it really reminds me of this thing that the creator of Steven Universe, Rebecca Sugar, mentioned, like, she was trying to explain why the main character, for advice, like, went to, like, the one person left on the planet who just hated his guts.
Yeah.
Like, and she said, well, sometimes when you're like, I'm paraphrasing so bad, but it's like when you're depressed or you hate yourself, then you go to the person who, you know, will tell you what you believe about
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
because that feels like the only truth. And so it's
Yeah.
just, yeah, the idea of Ramses, yeah, literally saying what Juno has been thinking, and that being like, it makes me think that even if he hadn't offered the eye, there would be something magnetic there about,
Mhm.
yes, finally someone. Because I mean, Peter was all about like, oh, we'll just swing from star to star and we'll be happy. And like, Juno, that's the farthest thing, I think, from the way Juno thinks about himself and his future. And so Ramses being like, we don't have a lot of time. Like, you're useless unless you can do good. And like, you know, just all this. Oh God, it's a horrifying part for me. It's terrifying.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
so well written. It's
I
so
think
well written.
I think a lot of it like comes down to, okay, right? So like Nureyev is trying to be Mag to Juno,
Oh
but Juno
God.
doesn't
Oh,
respond to Mag. Juno responds to Ramses. Ramses is calculated, he has a plan, and he's going to tell you what to do. And Juno just wants someone to tell him what to do all the time.
Oh, yes, he does.
But Mag is
oh,
impulsive. I think that he is much less intentionally manipulative and more just is like okay with manipulating people to get what he wants. Like I don't think he thinks of himself as someone who is manipulative, whereas I think Ramses knows exactly how manipulative he is. He just
yeah.
thinks that it's worth it. And right, so like Peter learns that what you do is you tell people to do, or you don't even really tell them what to do. You just sort of pull them along beside you, and they get little half pieces of the plan, and you make half of it up as you go along.
Yeah, and it's fine. It'll be fine.
And you act like you know more than you do. Whereas Ramses
Yeah.
knows
Yeah.
exactly how much he knows. And he's going to tell you exactly as much as you need to know. And that's it. And I feel like that's why Nureyev can't get Juno to go with him, right? Like, because he didn't Ramses him, he magged him.
I
Oh
really like that.
God.
That's
Yeah.
how Nureyev thinks you should express love and commitment.
Yeah.
Oh, that's that's so messed up. So like if Nureyev maybe had been like gently feeding Juno like poison like about himself and like had maybe made him feel bad and then had been very clear that Juno needed to leave the planet to do good. I wonder what that would have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, that wouldn't be Peter.
Oh, of course
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
And
That
thank
would be just
goodness.
terrible. Yeah.
That would
Beautiful.
be Ramses.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God.
Ugh, yeah. Oh my God. God, fuck Ramses. I hate Ramses.
I know.
He's like one of my, so like I have a little like soft spot for Mag, not in like a like he's not bad, just more in a I really like him as a character.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Ramses, like I love the writing, but it's something about it's like there's like this very specific kind of like old man in podcasts, and it's like him and where I'm like, I don't like you. If I met you, I would slap you. I love you as a villain, but oh my gosh, we are not friends.
Yeah. Just obliterate them. Absolutely. I'm in, yes. Yeah, I find
Oh man.
Ramses
We should put in
fascinating.
a Magnus spoiler warning though.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I will like I'll fuzz it out with radio static.
Sounds
It's fine.
good.
Ooh, yes, very appropriate.
Yes. You
Is
aren't
there
allowed to
any
know that.
Yes. Is there anything else y'all want to talk about for this episode?
I like that the Thea soul can see infrared, ultraviolet, and mega green. I think mega green is a very
It's mega green.
It's
I
like,
think that's
is
in the
that a
next
thing?
episode, but it's great.
That's a shrimp color.
Oh my god.
Holy shit. Oh, and police records. It's pretty rad. I
Yeah.
the one other thing that I was wondering about is whether or not how much Rita knows because she says ever since your eye blew up. And I'm like, how does she know that his eye blew up? Like she sounds like she doesn't know much beyond that, but like as opposed to wouldn't that be a conclusion you would not automatically draw when someone came home without an eye? Wouldn't you be like, oh, someone ripped it out or someone stabbed you or
I don't know. Maybe that's all the information she got. Like, oh my God, boss, what happened to your eye? It blew up.
I'm going home.
Like, that seems very Juno to me.
I was
That's
thinking like maybe he like ranted about my stupid eye and it blew up and now I can't do anything right. But I actually think that the idea of him coming back like still exhausted because I imagine that when he like walked back out of that hotel that like he ended up in his office
Mm-hmm.
and that Rita just like comes in the next morning and finds him with like bandages, disheveled clothes, like covered in bruises, clearly has had a bad time. And the idea of her going, "Oh my God, boss, like what happened?" Him just
yeah.
being like, "My eye blew up. I'm going home."
Yeah, I can really see that.
That's my headcanon. That's official.
That's pretty
Awesome.
All right, that's my only final note.
cool. All right. So in that case, I would like to bring up the devastating line, great heroes risk great things and you risk only yourself. Because fuck Ramses.
Sorry, I'm good.
I understand. Well, I would like to thank Mev for her galaxy brain takes.
Thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
honestly, goddamn.
Yeah. No, this was super fun. I'm a big Penumbuddies fan, so I was very happy to join in the fun.
Thanks
Oh, we
so
salute
much.
you.
We appreciate you being here and talking about kitty cats with us.
Hell
Yes, and we
yeah.
appreciate all you listeners as well. Thank you guys so much.
All right. We will talk to you soon, Penumbuddies.
Bye.